Welcome to Talk Dirt to Me, where two farmers shatter myths and take on the top issues facing America's farmers. Here's your hosts, Logan and Bobby Lee.
Another good evening. Kind of getting into a routine now where we're back to our evening recordings consistently.
I'm gonna say it's getting to that time of year where that'll probably be the norm. You know, I'll be actually was working on the tractor today, getting all my planter stuff set up on it, and
Well, that's what I was asking my dad. He was at the ball game with us earlier. When will go time be? I know there's a little chance of rain tomorrow. If it doesn't rain tomorrow, when's go time?
probably Friday.
Friday. I noticed it. Everything's dried out.
It is dried unusually fast. That's what Dad and I were talking about today.
We got a foot of rain, but since it's quit raining, it's been good weather.
Yeah.
Sun's shining, wind's blowing.
Yeah, that's what I was looking today. And yeah, if we miss this rain, then Friday I hope to start planting. I mean, if I'm ready, my planter's not ready yet, but I may just start planting with it incomplete.
Well, that first day, something's going to happen.
It is.
Something's not going to be ready to go.
Yeah, got to work the bugs out.
You get 10 acres planted, yeah. But then you'll be ready to go on Saturday or next week.
Yeah, for sure. Well, we got an awesome episode for you guys tonight. Got another guest episode, and before we get into that, we need you to do two things. First, we need you to leave us a rating and a review. Leave that 5 stars on Apple or Spotify or wherever you listen. I think even on Audible. You know, we're on Audible.
Audible.
Yep.
Good deal.
Yeah, we're on there. You can leave ratings on that. I think we have like 1 5-star rating on Audible. I've never used it for podcasts, but some people do. And if you do, leave that 5-star rating. And if you're watching on YouTube, leave us a comment, hit that like button, hit subscribe, and share it. Share it with your friends. You know, I made a little video there, and I was talking about how I feel like we're like the David versus Goliath of ag podcast, which is funny because we're, we're not to toot our own horn, but we're in that upper echelon of ag podcast, but we are up against some guys that have big money. And
right, we're completely independent.
Yes, we are. We got not big money for sure. So help us out, share it, and do all those things. Makes a big difference.
Yeah.
And what else do I need to do?
Yes, we may be independent, but we do have a great sponsor.
We do.
Agzaga.com. Y'all check them out. Y'all know the drill. Everything's on sale, 10% off with that discount code. Talk Dirt, all caps, all one word. Like always, they're running all kinds of, seasonal, deals. Then you can still use that discount code. The Belknap wrap, that's going to be the big one. Big push for that right now, because if you hadn't already gotten stocked up, you need to.
Yeah.
But you won't beat their selection, their prices, they're fast, cheap shipping. I promise you.
That's right. All right, guys, we've got a great episode for you tonight. We are joined by Matt Ochs. Matt, what's going on, man?
Not much, guys. Thanks for having me on. It's
Absolutely.
nice I don't ever watch. I only ever listen, so it's nice to see your faces.
Yeah.
He's like, God, this is grotesque. He's like, no wonder everyone listens. No.
Only one of you is.
Only one. Yes.
That's right.
Don't tell us which one.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. No, man. Yeah. And then it's, like I was telling Bobby Lee, or I guess, we weren't on air yet. It's pretty neat. We're going to get to go down the produce area. And, man, that is a booming thing right now. And it's kind of, I feel really, what's the word I'm thinking of? It's really important right now because I feel like a lot of this tariff stuff and what's going on is kind of, man,
you need to buy as close to home as you can.
Yep. So we'll get into that, but first, kind of give us a little rundown of who you are, so people know who you are, and tell us what you do.
Thank you. I'm Matt Ochs. I'm a 6th-generation farmer in Pennsylvania, and we've only been in produce I'm the 2nd-generation produce farmer. Only my dad got into produce for the farm's sake. We've got a 400-acre farm. We raise probably about 100 acres of produce.
Man.
And we do a little bit of everything. We have a retail farm market, which we move mainly all of our produce through there. We have greenhouses. We sell ornamental flowers. We raise vegetable plants and sell them. Got about 60 head of beef cattle, a few hundred chickens, lay eggs. We do a little bit of everything. And then whatever ground we don't put into vegetables goes into hay, corn, and soybeans for the most part. And wheat.
Yeah, man, y'all got a lot going on there. That's what I was actually making a note here. because I got some questions.
Oh yeah, I'm thinking of all kinds of questions. So obviously, you said y'all have the farmers market. You're selling all the fresh produce, selling the eggs right there as well.
Yep.
Do y'all do any direct on meat sales or anything? Or
Yeah, we sell. We move all of our beef as halves and quarters, or we get some. We get 1 to 2 done a month federally, where we're able to sell freezer beef out of the farm market.
yeah, there you
So
go. Okay.
that's a booming business these days. Is we
Yeah.
can't, as fast as we can get calves, we've got places for them to go. We're sold out for a few months till January already. So
That's
it's
fantastic.
yeah.
So y'all are finishing all your calves, not
Yep,
sending any
yep.
to.
No, we are very fortunate to have a couple local dairies that will breed whatever they aren't planning on keeping to beef for us. So we raise mainly Angus Holstein crosses, but with the price of calves, we've been taking all the calves we can get. So
Yeah.
we're taking Holstein bulls and mainly Angus Holstein crosses. So
Yeah,
we try to keep up with it.
that's fantastic. I would love to get to the point where I could finish all mine out myself. We're doing just a few. That's what I'm right in the middle of that too. But I'm the same way. Like the demand, I don't even know what the demand could be
Yeah,
because, and I feed out 9 head, but it's, I to the point where I tell no one about it, but I have people come to me.
yeah.
Um,
Well, it gets
I
to
like
the
it.
point where, like you said, you have your 9 people that are spoken for. It's everybody who picks up a half or a quarter basically gets right back on the list.
Yeah.
So and then it just grows. So we're at the point now where we're gonna have to start going to the auction and buying calves, which we definitely don't want to do right now. But
Yeah.
there's just so much demand.
Well, how many are you feeding out? Did you say 60?
We have 60 on the farm right now. We feed out about like 48 a year.
Man, that's pretty
Is what
darn
we're
good.
feeding out. Yeah. Yeah, we send about 4, 5, 6 a month is basically what we're sending out, but it wanes. Sometimes we don't have any going, and sometimes we have a little bit more.
So,
Yeah.
I'm curious in the process of that, like, because logistically, how do you manage, like, how do you keep it revolving like that?
It's tough since we've gotten so big and like everything's tagged, obviously, so you have the ears, so you know who's who and how long they've been there. And then it's basically the fat pen, which is our finishing pen, because we have them on pasture and they have all the grass they want, and we're feeding them mainly silage and a little bit of grain, and then we'll move them into the finishing pen. And then once they get the finishing pen, always has about 10 to 12 in there, and the 4 biggest go every time, and we just keep replenishing it. So we just try to keep it rolling.
Now, do you use your own grain? Is that what you supplement with? Is that?
Yeah, we grind our own feed. And
Gotcha.
we're starting to feed. Recently, we've started feeding a lot more whole corn. We don't grind at all now.
I think that's
we'll
what you do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm the same way.
Yeah, well, we used to. Dad, when he was younger, you had to crack the corn for the beef to get the full benefit out of it. And we had a younger nutritionist come in, and he was telling us about an article from Ohio State about how that's not always. He doesn't really. The money you save on grinding, basically it's a wash. So then it just saves you time. So we started doing that. So we've been doing that for the past year and a half, feeding half whole grain, and then the other half is a mix that we grind up that's got the protein in it and the mineral and everything else they need.
Which I'm sure you guys the same way. You get a lot of, keyboard experts on YouTube that tell you can't feed whole corn, and I'm like, okay, but which you should mention, everybody. You guys have a really big YouTube presence.
Yes, y'all do.
Yeah. My brother has a YouTube channel called the Veggie Boys. It's everything we do here on the farm, and he's got about over 200,000 subscribers now.
Yeah.
So
it's good, man. Even my kids watch it. Like after me and you had talked, I was like, all right. So I looked up and it's right up my alley because it's like I said, that's kind of that world. I'm really just getting into it, and so it's really cool to see that world. And yeah, my kids, they watch it with me, and I like the whole family aspect to it. Like it's a neat thing.
Yeah, well, that's all that's here is we don't have any hired out help. It's my 2 brothers and our wives and my dad and my mom. And then I got 2 aunts that work at the farm market. And right now we have our only part-time help is my great aunt. And she works in the greenhouses this time of year.
That's cool. That is cool. Yeah. Well, man, that's, it's a wild world right now, like with the cattle. And I actually just saw today, it's going to get wilder because Trump, he's been pushing a 125% tariff on China. Did you see that?
I, I I have not. I've been a little bit out of the loop today. Today was my day off, and so I was out on the farm all day.
So
And
you're working.
right, right. Oh yeah. I mean, that's 100% the way it is. I work harder on my
Off
quote
days.
unquote day off, and so I didn't. I spend less time on my phone, on social media, on anything, just
Yeah.
because I don't have a spare moment.
Well, yeah, China retaliated. He initiated the tariffs, and China retaliated. So he is now retaliated, and he's going to 125% tariffs on them. And I saw where like Mr. Wonderful, do you know who he is? Off of Shark Tank, he's the bald
Oh yeah,
guy.
yeah, 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 yeah.
He is he's a billionaire or something. He's an economist, and he's urging Trump to go to, I think he said 400% tariffs on China because he's like, China, they will break them. But they were talking about how these tariffs are going to really help the cattle industry, not just with China, but like the cattle industry and I think even they were somehow saying it was going to tie into the produce world, which I mean, we don't
Yeah.
import from China on that, but I don't
Almost
know.
all the soft neck garlic, which is like the garlic you buy fresh at the grocery store, almost all of it comes from China.
Really?
Yeah, they grow thousands of acres of garlic over there.
I wonder why. They're
Like,
just,
they're just good at it, I guess.
yeah,
Yeah.
It's like one of the things that's always in their food too.
yeah.
But so like all the garlic that you get at the grocery store, it's probably from China, almost all of it.
Damn, I like garlic.
I know, dang, that just ruins my garlic for me. I'm gonna start growing garlic.
You got to get local.
There you go.
Yeah,
There you
yeah.
go.
We'll have to start growing garlic at the store. American grown,
Yeah.
American grown garlic. I'll put the sign up on the store. Like I
When
can
you're
see-
talking about like 125 and 4%, that I don't know why. Just kind of weird thing. I was thinking like Dr. Evil when he's like,
$100,000 or
yeah,
whatever.
then he goes to like $1 million.
Yeah,
Yeah, whatever.
yeah.
A
$1
million
million.
percent tariff.
Yes, that's what he
Just
should
keep
do.
1,000,000%.
Oh, that's what Mr. Wonderful. He was like, he needs to just go to 400% tariffs. So yeah, man, it's wild. That's what I tell people. It's like the Wild West in ag right now.
That's not just ag, but yeah.
Oh yeah,
it's-
all the industries.
Well, the cattle markets really suffered last week. Like, and I guess it was just the markets in general.
Yeah.
Cattle was just the one thing I paid
Well,
attention to every day.
I get
But
kind of
everything came back
Yeah.
pretty hard, pretty strong early this week.
I get kind of tickled because I've seen pundits like break this down, and they're like, "Oh man, this is going to be the golden era for all of these industries." And they always say, "And our farmers are going to make more money than they've ever made because they're going to sell more product they're going to be forced to sell domestically." And I'm like, "That's great. That's great from a produce side. That's great from a cattle side. That's not great for us on the row crop side." Because I told somebody we were
Like,
talking
we
about
have to
this.
export. We grow
Yeah.
so much more than what we need. for
That's what I was
domestic
telling
use.
somebody yesterday. I said, that sounds great, but we grow too much. We don't have enough demand domestically for what we grow. So, that's a lot of the reason why my wife and I have been moving in the direction of this produce store. I haven't convinced myself to bow out of the row cropping, but I am moving more into that direction. And I mean, 100 acres of produce, that is a lot of produce. Like,
Yeah.
that's a lot of produce.
Yeah, it's mostly sweet corn. We have a heck of a sweet corn business, and then a few acres of potatoes, a few acres of peppers, a few acres of tomatoes, zucchini, cucumbers, eggplant. It adds up. So,
How do you few acres of tomatoes would be a night, like, how the heck do you manage that?
we barely manage it because we pick it all. It's all my brothers and I doing all the harvesting. So we're out there every day harvesting, and we do. So we focus a little bit more on quantity, and because we're planting so much, we're able to find the good stuff for the farm market, the ones, as you call them,
Yeah.
the number ones, the nice, perfect ones. And then everything else. We are fortunate enough to have a tremendous canning business where we have a lot of everybody in our area cans their own tomato sauce and their stewed tomatoes, and so we move a tremendous amount of produce through there for that.
Okay.
So that works out well for us. You were talking about the row crop thing and how the prices and everything. That's the exact reason as my dad started the produce business back in the 90s, is because my grandfather made some poor business decisions, and then they ended up having to sell off 1,000 acres of the farm. And so we were left with a few hundred. And so then my grandfather passed away, and so my dad took over. And you can't really couldn't make a living on 300 acres of row crop. So he started raising tomatoes for a local cannery, and they were doing tractor trailer loads of tomatoes out of here and selling them to the cannery. And then everybody would drive by and see tractor trailer loads of tomatoes on the side of the road, and they'd want some. And so these were all contracted. So the next year Dad started raising a little bit just for people to buy. And we started a roadside stand. And then the roadside stand moved into a garage. And then now we have a 100 by 60 building that is our farm market.
Man,
So,
that's awesome.
here we
Yeah.
are.
Well, man, I'll tell you what kind of shifted my focus a lot. I mean, like I said, obviously the prices and row cropping is what it is, but COVID was kind of the big eye opener for me, which it's funny. I started growing pumpkins when I was like 9. My dad and I, he was like, let's do a pumpkin patch. And so we grew pumpkins, and I would set up on a trailer out like in town, and I'd have pumpkins displayed up there, and I would sell out. And I would do that like every Saturday. And I would sell out just about every Saturday. And so I had been growing pumpkins for a long time. And then I started adding in sweet corn. And like I said, sweet corn is like crack cocaine. I mean, dude, people are gonna. Hey, there you go. They can count as the cocaine reference for this one. You know, I don't think it's got any cocaine in it, but it does. It will bring people in, and so did that. Well, I didn't grow any for a couple years because it's a lot to it. You know, I mean, it's not as bad, but pumpkins you got to do a lot with pumpkins.
Yeah.
And oh, dude, yeah, pumpkins wear you out, and so I didn't grow any for a couple years, and then COVID hit, and people were blowing up my messages and phone like, "Man, you got any sweet corn? You got any tomatoes? You got any of these?" Because the grocery stores, ran out, and then people all of a sudden were worried, like, and wondering about their food, and like it shifted the whole dynamic where people suddenly cared about where they got their food. So man, I don't know. I'm sure. Did y'all see uptick? Did y'all see things shift 2020 time frame?
Oh, I tell people, so the way I phrase this is, so for our farm market at the time, we would probably sell about 2 cases of bananas a week. When COVID hit and everything locked down, we were selling 15 cases a week. So we were killing ourselves. It was crazy. Dad was going, so it hit in March, so we don't have any produce available.
Yeah.
So we're open all year, and so we work with a local wholesaler, and we'll get whatever produce we need to keep the farm market stocked up through the winter. So Dad was going every day, and we would 6 pallets a day of apples and cabbage and potatoes and every single thing you could imagine we were bringing home, and it was as fast as we could bring it in, we were selling it. And at the time, like, we didn't know what COVID was. Like, we were all scared at the first little bit there. So
yeah,
my grandmother used to bake pies every Friday for the farm market, and she'd do about 150 a week is what she averaged.
Man.
Yeah, it was a big business. She was up to like 350 like by the second Saturday. And so Dad is like, you're done. Like, we don't need you're 72 years old. We don't need you down in here working like your tail off. So we slowed that down, and we just did the produce then, and it was insane. And then that rolled right into gardening season with us raising bedding plants and vegetables. Crazy. Like, we couldn't keep up. It almost killed us. Like, seriously, we were so happy when it slowed down. It took about 2 years to slow down, but we were so happy when it slowed down a little bit.
So did y'all just get into selling the actual plants when the COVID thing came about, or have you always been?
Yeah, so that started back when my dad was raising for the cannery still back in the 90s. Because what would happen is the cannery would send you the plants, and a lot of time they'd send them last week of April, and you wouldn't be able to plant them at any time. So then they were trying to keep these things alive and keep them nice.
Yeah.
So they ended up putting up a greenhouse. And then when they put up the greenhouse, they had a little bit extra room in there. So then once they started selling at the roadside stand, they started just raising marigolds, started raising petunias, just little bits. And up here, I don't know how it is where you guys are at, but up here, like when springtime rolls around and it finally gets warm out, people want there to be flowers. They want there to be color.
Yeah.
And so that business has just grown and grown and grown. And now we've got 6 greenhouses and we fill them solid full. And I had people coming today starting to buy stuff, even though it's way too cold, but they're excited. So they're getting for it.
Man, that, you know, the flowers, you talk about the marigolds and all that. That's my wife. That's something she's wanting to put in 2 patches here at the store. And we were kind of plotting it out, and I don't know anything about flowers. And I mean, my plan, I'm curious your thoughts. We were thinking about basically disking up 2 spots. It's going to be about 2 acres or acre and a half, and just sowing wildflower seed out there. And you know, obviously it's going to have some weed pressure in there, but I mean, there's not a chemical, I'm assuming, for grass that won't kill flowers.
Probably not. I mean, I don't even know what marigolds will be classified as. So are you doing like as like an agritourism thing where people can come and see the patch of flowers? That's a fantastic idea.
Yeah, they're going to be able to take, you know, if we can make it pretty enough, then let them do photo shoots in it. And my wife has talked about doing like a bouquet bar in the store and getting, you know, flowers. And she's got these little aluminum things, and it's like stacked up on a wall and having different flowers in each one, and people can come in and build their own bouquets and take pictures. I mean, so what are your thoughts on that?
I think that's a great idea, especially the flowers, like, cause we have, you know, Dr. Dre. I'm not Dr. Dre.
Dr. Dre, heck yeah, man. The Chronic, man.
Farmer Dre out in Missouri. He's got a YouTube channel, and that's what he does. He plants a whole field of tulips and sunflowers. And we have actually a great example of this. We have the neighbor farmer is a big row crop farmer, and they do, every year they do cover crop. And this past year, the cover crop had quite a bit of sunflowers in it. Okay. And so all along our road, there's sunflowers on both sides of the road for big chunks of it. And there's the amount of cars that were just pulled over and people walking out and taking pictures and taking sunflowers home. It's something that people love to do, and it gets people outside. It's nice. I think it's a great idea, especially if you're trying to get people to find you. They'll come looking for that. And then for the cut flower bar, like cut flowers are getting to be such a big thing. We don't do it because we don't have the time, but they don't take up much room. You can do them if you have a little bit of ground close to the farm market, to the market. Yeah, you can do them, and it works great. I know a lot of Amish and Mennonite that are like an hour away from us. That when you drive out that way, there's tons of the cut flowers, and there's always people stopping and getting stuff. So it's a great idea, and like, it's not a ton of money to plant the wildflower seed. It's usually generally not too expensive, at least if I remember correctly.
Yeah. Well, how do y'all plant your flowers?
So we do all of the our seeded flowers. So we have a lot that come in seeds that will then we have a seeder that is an air seeder. So it's got a tray on top with 512 holes in it. Yeah. Dump the seeds on, and then every little vacuum hole gets sucked down, so the seeds get sucked on, and then we just flip it over into a tray, dumps in. We can plant 512 seeds at a time. Wow. And then those we keep in a smaller greenhouse, which we call our germination greenhouse, because that one has to be kept warmer. Yeah. Because you want your soil temperature to be in the high 70s, the 80s. So we keep them in that small greenhouse, and that's why we plant them in such small trays, is so that we can fit more seeds in there. And then we'll bring them down and we transplant them into slightly bigger trays. And then they're just in those trays until we sell them. I got you. Okay. Yeah. And then all of our hanging baskets and we do a lot of hanging baskets, a lot of proven winners. I don't know if you've ever heard of them. It's a name brand flower. Yeah. So it's a company that does a lot of marketing, and they sell vegetative flowers, what that means is they don't make seeds. So they're all cuttings taken off of like a main hybrid. Yeah. And then they'll root those, and then they'll send them out to you. And so we can put those in hanging baskets, and then those don't have to be pinched. They don't have to be plucked, which is something you have to do with a lot of flowers to keep them blooming. Yeah. These will just keep going. And so those you have to buy. Like, you can't get them yourself because they don't make seeds. So with those, you
That's
buy in,
crazy.
they come in like an inch tall, and then we'll transplant everything over.
Yeah. Well, I told my wife, I said, that's going to be her arena. I said, I don't know anything about flowers. And, you know, and I've told her, I'm like, I'll disc up the thing for you and have it ready, but you got to figure that out. And I have seen, there's actually a farm here in Tennessee. Man, I can't remember the name of it, but it is a flower farm.
That's
And
cool.
man, it looks awesome. Like they had long rows of flowers and it was
Mhm.
clean. Now they're obviously running some sort of like small cultivator or something in between the rows. But it looked awesome. Like, cause you just don't see that, you know, like in our area,
Yeah.
man, you ride around soon, you'll be riding around, it'll be beans, corn, and cotton. And that's going to
Yep.
be the primary thing you'll see. You'll see
Yeah.
some wheat. But man, you don't drive around and see a field of lavender or tulips. And it's cool, man. I
Yeah.
like seeing something different.
Yeah,
mean,
I enjoy it, and like for us, flowers is a huge business. It's probably one of the, like, percentage wise, we probably make the most money off of our greenhouses.
Really,
And so yeah, so it's like for us, it's a big, and that's like all I do for the next 3 months. I'm in the greenhouses. All the boys get to go drive the tractors. They get to go seed. They get to go plant, and I'm just in the parking lot selling flowers. So
are you the youngest?
no, I'm the oldest.
Oh well,
So
then
I have-
how did you draw the short straw then on that?
My well, I was just the first one that was old enough to talk to people, and I was the one that could unload trucks when they came and load up stuff for people, and so I just got the job, and I just kind of stuck with it. But I like it. The only problem is I'll put 20,000 steps on our parking lot and greenhouses a
I
day
imagine.
when it's time. But we don't really. It's funny is you're talking about with the flowers, like we don't really do agritourism at all. Even before my brother had the YouTube channel, we would get calls, and because in our area we were the number 1 or 2 thing to do. Like we
Yeah.
were number 1 or number 2 was a pub, and people would call us and they're like, "Hey, what do you guys have to do at your place?" And we're like, "We're just a farm market. Like there's nothing. We don't have a petting zoo. There's nothing fancy."
Yeah.
But the agritourism always seems fun, and then it's a good way probably to make money with the way things are going.
I was gonna say, is that an avenue you've thought about?
We don't have the room for it. Our farm is on a hill, and we're if you go out to the back of ours, like where the cows are at, it looks like it just drops off. But like they walk down the hill, but it looks like it just drops off. So we don't have the space to have put in more parking, and we'll have times in May, like around Mother's Day, when we're really cooking with the flowers and the vegetable plants, and we'll have like 25, 30 cars parked
yeah.
out front. And there's just no room to add anything. I have people all the time are like, "Oh, can we park our food truck there?" And I'm like, I can't give up the parking spots. Like I don't have the room for it. So if we had the room, my dad is always like, we'd have a peach festival, we'd have the apple festival, the flower festival, we would do all that, but we just don't have the room for it.
Well, maybe one day.
Maybe one day, if we ever end up growing out of this place, which we're getting there.
Yeah.
We
Yeah,
might end
man.
up-
Does that so would you say flowers is y'all's number one thing? I mean, you think that's probably the best?
Yeah, dollar wise, it's definitely our biggest thing. But we've been doing it for years, and we've got 6 greenhouses, and we're right off the road, so people can pull in and they can walk in the greenhouse, and we raise a few thousand hanging baskets, and thousands of planters, and thousands of little pots of flowers, and thousands of trays, and then that's on besides all of our pepper plants and tomato plants and eggplant and cucumber, zucchini, all that. So that's definitely where our bread is buttered.
Do y'all do any sort of stuff like I grew some peppers last year, and I like them because they're easy. You know, peppers are really easy here, and they do well in our hot temperature. And I grew some ghost peppers, and I ended up not even trying one of the darn things. I grew I just planted 2 of them. I was like, I got to plant some ghost peppers. And I had a grand idea because my wife makes salsa. We do a lot of canning in the store and sell, because I don't know if this is this way in y'all's area, but in ours now it seems like every Tom, Dick, and Harry is selling produce on Facebook or something. So it's like we literally built the store, and now every day I turn around and another person's like selling sweet corn, and I'm like, God dang it! But I told Marcy, I said, well, the difference is we have a farm for people to come to, and so that's where we kind of are going to leverage that agritourism thing. But we do canned stuff, and like sauerkraut is probably our biggest seller, which I had no idea that it would be that way. But sauerkraut is seriously, people want it. And pepper sauce is something that I'm going to get into this year. I want to start fermenting and making some pepper sauce, and then really make some hot sauce. I mean, like peppers. How much peppers do y'all grow? Because I love peppers.
We raise probably like 2.5 acres, so probably around like 80,000 plants.
That's a lot of peppers.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot. But for like us, we need to have red ones, we need to have green ones, and so we have multiple plantings of stuff and stuff moved around. So, and we raise regular bell peppers, then you got different kinds of frying peppers, different hot peppers, different stuffing peppers. So there's like, till you have a little bit of everything. Really.
Do you hand pick the peppers?
Yeah, we hand pick everything. Peppers are, if you keep them watered and you've got peppers though, you probably know they fly. You can we pick bins of peppers when we're in the canning season. We'll just pick bins.
I just mean being bent over all day.
Well, it's honestly our least favorite thing to pick. Me and my brothers, we hate picking peas.
Oh, I knew it, dude. When you said it, I was like, it's got to be freaking peas.
Yeah, and we always try to figure out like, why do we hate picking peas so much? And it's just because it's got to be. It's the first thing of the year too, so it's like It's the first thing. So you're bent over, and that's the only time my back gets sore, is picking that. But other than that, like we pick peppers aren't bad. Like if you get into doing cucumbers, and we raise a lot of pickling cucumbers.
Yep.
And so those are just flat on the ground. You got to be bent all the way over to pick those. But we generally don't have too many back issues. Like I hurt my back last year, but that was not picking related. I just was picking up something heavy and slipped. But
well, I have a terrible back, and peas. I hate peas.
Yeah, peas are the worst.
Now with our cucumbers, which again y'all are doing a lot of volume, we basically do just enough for our pickles. We make pickles, and we put up a cattle panel, and it'll run up the cattle panel so that you don't have to be bent over. But on the volume y'all are doing, that would be insane how much cattle panel you would have to put up.
That's why we stopped staking tomatoes for the same reason. Like we're doing thousands of plants, and so for us to stake them all and get them all back out, we're just like, we'd rather just be bent over. Now maybe as I get older, we'll work into some of these other things depending on how things go. But
so do your tomatoes just run out?
Yeah, so we run them right now. We have them because they're on raised mulch beds.
Yeah.
And so most of the plant is on the mulch bed, so the tomatoes aren't touching the ground, the soil. Yeah. And we'll do 3 or 4 plantings of tomatoes. So for us, it's better to, when we're planting so many, it's better to have the first planting be determinate. They're all determinate, which means they all produce all their tomatoes pretty much at once.
Yeah.
And then you can just go and harvest them, and then they're done. For us, it's better to do like 4 plantings, because then it's a lot less maintenance trying to keep this tomato plant that's been alive since the end of May all the way into November.
Yeah.
So we'll plant those 4 plantings, and we'll go through and just pick as soon as there's color on it, we'll pick it, and we'll take it home and sort them all out. And we have our potato storage doesn't have any potatoes in it in the summertime, so we'll keep the tomatoes down there, and we'll just sort them every day, every couple days, and take the red ones up, and good ones in the farm market, and ones with marks on them go to canning.
What does your management look like on the tomatoes? Like, do you got to spray? I mean, you got to spray them constantly. I mean, do you use a blower type sprayer to spray across them?
So no, we just use a boom sprayer, the 3-point hitch mounted boom sprayer, because we have a small one. Because when you're spraying fruits and vegetables, you're not doing a lot of acreage, so you only need a little bit. So we have a small boom sprayer, and that has a pretty high height on it. So that one we can just drive over top of the peppers and over top of the tomatoes, and it doesn't touch them. It doesn't hurt them at all. Yeah. So, but dad handles all the spraying, and he's every week he's out taking care of stuff. Because I tell people all the time, like, if we don't take care of it, we're just breeding bugs for the sheer amount of tomatoes we've got in peppers. So we have to do something, or there's going to be nothing to sell.
That was kind of what bit us last year. I bought a water wheel transplanter, and we got a mulch layer. And it's all from Rainflow. I'm sure you've probably used some of their stuff. And
they're 2 hours south of us.
All right. Well, I was about to say, actually, I had to order the stuff from Pennsylvania. And it came, I ordered it straight from Rainflow because, man, nobody around here is doing that on like a scale.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so I was just pumped to use it. I'm like, man, I got this water wheel transplanter and this thing.
Yeah.
And so,
a new toy.
yeah. And I mean, my wife and I were like, we're going to plant 30 tomato plants. And like, I bought a flat of tomato plants. It was like 36 plants. And we planted them, and we used the water wheel transplanter. And I had run the plastic, and we planted 30 plants in like a minute. I mean, like it took like no time. And so I'm like, well, hell, we got to get more. And so our plan of 30 something turned into like 260 tomato plants, and we did stake them, and we staked them with. I used T-posts like an idiot, and so. They make like a steak now that it's smooth. It don't have the little anchor part in it.
Yeah.
And so we staked them, did all that. But dude, it was with me being already a one-man show on my row crop side, I could not keep up with the spraying. And that's we got a decent amount of tomatoes off of them just because we had so many plants. But like my dad has like 20 tomato plants, and he got more tomato, which his garden makes me mad. But like he got more tomatoes off of 20 plants than we did off of probably 250.
Yeah. And did you have a lot of waste with yours, or was it just they didn't yield?
We had a lot of waste. Well, we had a lot of what do they call it? Like we had some blight get into them, and then the end rot.
End rot. Yeah.
Yep, that got in them really bad. And somebody told me like what, copper or something you spray.
Calcium.
That's it. Yep.
Yeah, calcium's what we do. And but that also can be brought on by different stressors. Like if it's too wet,
it was wet.
They won't uptake. If it's too hot, they don't uptake. Like we had this past year, we had a real hot stretch, and we had a ton of blossom end rot. And even though we put on calcium for it specifically, we still have it. So a lot of, depending on the weather, it really can stress out your crops, and it really screws with stuff.
Yeah.
That's like with your days on your tomatoes, like they're 75 day or whatever. That's degree days. So if it's too hot, they don't grow. If it's too cold, they don't grow. And so it's just a ton of stuff you have to worry about. It's still farming.
It is. Yes, it is.
Well, and so I know you talked about, obviously y'all got the produce stand, and you're selling some of the tomatoes for canning. So on all the produce, are you selling a lot like through other avenues, or is what percentage of it is going through y'all's market?
Probably 90% of it is retail at our market.
Okay.
And we have a local grocery store that we'll sell produce to.
Yeah.
And then there is a large produce auction like an hour away that if we have something, like if we run into, we got to pick off all the eggplant because they're just starting to get a little big. We just got to get rid of them. We'll take them there. But we try not to run too much through the auctions. And so pretty much everything we do retail. And with my brother's YouTube channel, the farm market's just gotten crazier and crazier.
Yeah.
So we don't really have too much. The trouble is getting it picked. It's not selling it.
Yeah. That's fantastic. Yeah.
That's a good problem.
You're a price maker, not a price taker.
Yeah.
That's what you were talking about, the tariffs, and I'm so out of the loop because everything is pretty much just it's all closed loop here. So I don't keep up with it because it would just stress me out.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. I like seeing them like, what's this battle? Which again, in the row crop, if anything makes our markets go nuts, like there could be a 30-cent shift in one day to day over nothing.
Well, the markets just hate uncertainty.
Yeah.
And
his style of negotiating is uncertainty. Like that's how he negotiates.
Oh yeah.
And that
we do, so whatever we don't raise for hay hay or produce, it goes to row crop. And it's always fun when we're harvesting corn and we're harvesting soybeans, and we haul it in, and then my dad we do our whole wheat crop, and then we bale straw because we sell it at the farm market.
Yeah.
And my dad will go, the straw crop was 3 times more valuable than the wheat was.
Yeah.
So we're like, oh, thank goodness we're not relying on all that. I don't know how you guys sleep at night.
Yeah.
I don't sleep very good. Yeah, not great. What do you enjoy more? I mean, do you enjoy the row crop stuff, or do you enjoy the produce stuff more?
if all the equipment's working, it might be the row crop stuff because it's so fun driving combines and driving trucks and hauling grain out. But I will say when we're picking, like this past year, we had maybe the best tomato year we've ever had. I mean, we had so many beautiful tomatoes. It was fantastic. And while we were out picking tomatoes, I was like, I don't think there's anything I'd have more fun doing than picking tomatoes. And so like if it's just like anything with farming, when the weather's good and the yield's good, whatever you're doing is your favorite thing.
Yeah. Well, I've seen this just even with I mean, we're only really in I'd say our second year with this farm store, but it's rewarding. It's more rewarding to me than row crop. And look, everybody loves to see like a high yield on the combine monitor. Like I've had those years where I've shelled really, really good corn and I've cut really, really good beans, and it pumps you up to see that yield monitor jump up. But I'll tell you, none of that has compared to like we even make this tallow. Now we're making lotion out of beef tallow. And like I've had people that are like, I love this tallow, like they're like, man, I can't get enough of this stuff, or the sweet corn, or the whatever we grow. The sauerkraut is funny. People message me and they're like, I gotta have more of that sauerkraut, and so it's a different thing, man. It's more rewarding. Like we've talked about this on the show. But same for Bobby Lee with his cattle, like his beef. When people are like, man, his beef is at Hurricane Creek Farm, and you put up an Instagram post and put it up, man, it makes you feel good. And when I haul grain to Cargill or CGB or ADM, never do they call me and be like, that damn truckload was so good, man. That was the best load. They don't do that. So you don't get that pat on the back. Right. And so it is a more rewarding thing, I think, on the produce side.
You're just so far removed from the end user.
Yep.
And even, I would even say like a lot of the, corn and soybean, that the end users than another farmer that's feeding it to an animal.
Yeah.
And so then, like you by the time that actually ends up in some form or fashion on somebody's plate is
well removed from me.
Yeah. Whereas, that sweet corn, they're going home and eating that tonight.
Yep.
So,
Yeah. The sweet corn's always fun because you get people that you see them every day right before closing. They're coming in for a half dozen of sweet corn, like clockwork, almost every day. And you'd think they'd get tired of it, but man, they never do.
Yeah.
I'm usually tired of it. Go ahead.
No, you go on.
I only eat sweet corn raw really anymore because I eat it when we go out to the field. We always eat a ear to make sure it hasn't gone starchy or anything. Still tastes good. And then you eat one, and then you pick your 600 ears or whatever the bin fits, and then you grab another one for the ride out, and you eat it on the way out. And then, so I only eat it in the field anymore. I hardly ever eat it at home.
I'm the same exact way. I do that too. And my wife every year, she's like, we got to put up some sweet corn. I don't even put any up. Like we don't ever save any. People are like, man, you got to have a freezer full of sweet corn. And I'm like, I probably eat less sweet corn than anybody because, one, I mean, after you pick it and you just, and it's always hot as crap in the sweet corn patch anyways. And so, I'll shuck it.
It's always hotter.
Dude, it's brutal. It's brutal in there. I'll tell you what I actually started doing last year, because I got a bush hog, and I would pick a row and I would pretty well hammer it, and I just bush hog it down. And then I'd pick a row and bush hog. And, I'm sure I missed a couple of ears here and there, but it was so much more comfortable because, dude, when you get in the middle of a corn patch, there's no wind and the sun is still bearing down on you. And so I'm dying in there. But I do the same. I always will shuck some ears and I'll just eat some raw. And that's about how I eat sweet corn.
Yeah.
I remember when we switched from a 36-inch row corn planter to a 30-inch row corn planter, and the corn moved in on you while you were picking. And so I don't know if you get used to the corn like scraping your neck and going down, because you can get like a paper cut from corn leaves.
Yeah, I hate it. Now
by the end of the year, I'm pretty much immune. But
the corn that I planted on 38s. Because I got it's just an old John Deere planter, and it's on 38, so it's pretty wide. But also the sweet corn I plant is short, like it don't get very tall. So, but it will tear your arms to pieces. You walk through there, you'll have cuts and be itching like crazy.
Yeah, we specifically don't plant short corn because it's so I hate bending over to pick it. Because we pull with we have our loader tractor with a bin on following right behind us as we go out through the field, because we're picking everything pretty much when we go out, and if it's not ready, it gets left and we'll chop it for silage for the cows generally.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So we don't worry too much about missing any.
I wondered if y'all use any like Oxbow equipment?
No. I have a Pixel bean picker, which turned into Oxbow, and it's the second greatest invention of all time. Because picking string beans is terrible, but then with the bean picker, you just ride on the back and switch out baskets.
Do you have much waste or anything with that?
Not really, because we plant beans that are for machine harvest. So we have to plant we plant every week almost. Yeah. So we'll plant probably about like 10 to 12 plantings of beans. And then once you pick them, they're done, but they all pretty much ripen at the same time. Yeah. So you may have a couple that are a little bit over and some that are just a little bit young, but on average, they're pretty nice. So, and we're able to market them pretty cheaply because we're machine harvesting. So they're not perfect, but you're not paying for perfect. You're paying for the efficiency.
Yeah.
And they still taste great. They taste fantastic.
Yeah. Man, I've looked at those because I know Oxbow even has they got a sweet corn picker, and it's like a 1-row picker. And there's a guy he's a couple hours or so from here, but I know they have one. He talked about how awesome it is. Like they would pick a trailer load full every day, and he's got some Mexicans, I think, that take it and set up, and they would sell a whole trailer load, and then the next day they do it again.
Yeah, I know awesome. A guy who had one. Yeah.
Is it the same one I'm thinking of?
I don't know. Cody?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I know a few guys that have them. If we didn't have the labor that we do have, because my dad he like breathes sweet corn. He goes out to the field. He's 60 years old, and we still can't catch him. He's still faster than the rest of us. I don't know what he does, but I think he's skipping ears, but
yeah,
he won't admit to it. But but those things are cool. The only thing with them is they usually pick everything, so you still got to sort through the corn afterward.
Yeah,
which that you can do in the shade though, so that might be nicer than picking it up, going through and picking it off.
That is true. Yeah, because man, it never fails. I'll have some really nice ears, and you'll have some little skinny, scrawny, crappy ears, and I laugh, man. Like I plant a BT earworm resistant corn, but you're still going to get some worms in there, and they're always in the very end, because from my understanding, it's like a protein that they've put in the corn, and when they eat it, they have to eat it, and then it like kills them, and so they'll eat the ends of it. And I tell everybody, because I'll have some people that have never even, like some people have come in the store before and they'll be like, I don't know anything about sweet corn. And I'm like, all right, you need to cut the end off of it. Like I cut the end off and then, do that. And man, it drives me nuts. And I'm sure y'all see stuff like this.
Yeah.
I had some people come in, and we have these bins will fill up and people can get their sweet corn. And as it diminishes, we just add more in there. And people will start shucking the ends back, and they'll be like, if there's a worm or damage in there, they'll like, oh no, and they'll shove it back. And I had a woman that she went through like 12 ears of corn, and it drove me nuts, man.
Yeah, it's something. It's so funny because everybody wants like organic, and then you can't have. If you want organic, that's the stuff you're gonna have to deal with.
Yeah.
Yes.
But yeah, we run into that too, but. We pick enough sweet corn generally that, if we manage it well enough that we generally don't have that. But if we do run into that, then you just you got to tell people well, either we'll cut it off for you if you want the end cut off, or we'll help you look and find some that don't have any in it. But generally we're experienced enough, I'll call it, between my dad, my two brothers, and I, that when we can just feel the top as we're picking, and we'll feel it. And if it feels wrong, you just don't even bother, and you just go on to the next one. So sometimes you'll pick a whole 4 rows of corn and you won't get a bin because there's not that much good stuff in there because Dad missed a week of spraying, or because we plant BT early and late, but then for our main season we'll plant an older variety called Montauk that my dad just loves. And it's just an old sugar enhanced. It's just fantastic tasting. It's tall. It peels off easy when you're picking it, and so that's what he likes. But that you have to manage a little more.
Yeah.
And he's willing to do that.
So do you bypass an insecticide on your BT corn, or do you still put an insecticide
I
on it?
think we still do apply, depending on the pressure. We are fortunate enough to have the neighbor farm market, who was just a couple miles away. He has the traps out, and so he's always keeping an eye on for the moths and the corn borers, and so he's nice enough to tell us. He's like, you better keep an eye out. It's bad. So that helps us to know what to do. But I think we have less pressure than you guys do down in the South, because you guys don't get the winters like we do.
No, it has been like the first year I did the BT corn. I've been growing it now for several years. First year I did it, you would never see a worm in it.
Yeah.
And then it's like progressively they're getting worse. And that's what last year I had quite a few worms in them. Again, they'd only be in the end, and you just would cut that off. But like, it would piss me off. You'd go and you'd pick a great ear, and the next ear would have a worm. You'd pick an ear, it'd be good. The next one would have a worm. And so that's what I was talking to somebody, and I said, I'm going to spray some insecticide on it this time. Like, the BT stuff, it worked because it would be a dead worm a lot of times, which again is funny. We talk about people that hate the GMO stuff, like, oh, I've seen people that are like, well, if it kills a worm, what's it doing to our stomach? And I'm like, that it's not doing anything to your stomach. Like, that's literally how it's designed. And they're like, oh no, you can't tell them anything.
Yeah. It's hard arguing with people about that stuff. And fortunate enough for us is we have now, with my brother has the kids, his 3 kids, and my other brother has just announced he's having a girl, which is fantastic.
Nice.
But we're fortunate enough now to tell people, like, we feed it to the kids, like we're comfortable enough with it, and we're the ones using it. So like, and we trust it enough to give it to you guys. Like, we're not gonna, and me, like, if you get sick, you're coming right back.
Yeah.
Like, you're gonna know exactly where you got it from. So that's what we try to tell people. But yeah, with the corn, I'm not so sure down where you guys are at. I don't know what variety you even plant, because I know with us, certain ones there's different genes they have in there, like the attribute gene, like attribute performance. I don't know if that's in the corns you're looking at.
Let me see. Obsession. Have you heard of Obsession?
I've heard of Obsession.
That's what I plant a lot of, and it is kind of funny. People are always, again, people just don't know, and I'll have them. They'll be like, "Is that corn peach? I only eat peaches and cream." And I'm like, yeah, it is. I mean, it is. But I laugh because all that means is the color. Like, it has nothing to do with anything except for the color.
I think that was an old variety, was called peaches and cream. But it's still like, that's the same thing. Sugar and butter, bread and butter.
Yeah.
We raise a little bit of white sweet corn. And
like a Silver Queen or something?
If it's Silver Queen, no, we don't. Silver Queen's like 80 years old. I tell people, like, if I tried to feed you Silver Queen, you would spit it out. But it is white corn.
Yep. That's what people ask me. That one and Sweet G90. I hear people are like, "What about Sweet G90?" I'm like, "No."
Yeah, that might be a southern one. I'm not familiar with that. Funny thing about Silver Queen, it was one of the first like sugar enhanced corns. Like, it's the first like GMO sweet corn.
Really?
And so that's why it tasted the best.
Yeah. Oh, dude, I still get people. I have had people that have like messaged us on Facebook on there, and they'll be like, "Do you have any Silver Queen?" And I'm like, "No." And if someone asks what it is, I just tell them peaches and cream, because that's only, like, if I said Obsession, that they wouldn't even know what that means. And so I'm like, it's just peaches and cream.
Yeah, the technology with the corn is so much better now than it used to be. Yeah. I mean, the stuff that, because we're at the point now with the varieties that we can pick them the night before, because we have a big walk-in cooler. Mm-hmm. We can pick them and then put them in the cooler overnight, and they're still great all day the next day. Yeah. I talked to guys, they were every morning out picking corn, and it wasn't any good by lunchtime. Like, you had to go pick every morning, and then that was all trash by lunchtime, and then you had to go pick again for the afternoon, because the corn just did not last.
Man, I've kind of wrestled with that, because ours will last, which we got an air conditioned store in there now, and that helped, because when we first opened up, we didn't have air conditioner or anything in it. And so, yeah, I mean, like, by the end of the day, the corn was still good, but by the next day, it looked bad. It was wilted looking. Yeah. And people don't like that.
Nope. You got to keep it. It's got to be pretty.
Yeah.
It's got to be pretty. So that's we pick every day, but it's usually we're able to pick and put it in the cooler overnight, get it nice and cold, and then getting it cooled down really helps. Like if you have ice around when you're picking sweet corn, if you get it chilled, it'll stay nicer a lot longer. But when you bring it right in from the heat, and I'm sure down where you're at, the heat is sweltering in the summertime. So when you bring the sweet corn inside, it just steams itself. And
it ain't the heat, it's the humidity.
Yeah.
We're obligated to say that in the South, no matter what. Like,
yeah, we just have to say that.
I can't imagine, because I get 85, 90 with 80% humidity too when we're out picking, and I always look like I just got out of the pool when I get back. Yeah. I was like, I can't imagine it any worse than this.
Dude, I was picking last year, and it was like, I don't remember, the heat index was probably like 105, and I was picking, and I got a watch that has like my heart rate and stuff on it, and I could feel my heart beating in my head when I was out there picking. I'm like, man, and I looked, my heart rate was like 135 as I'm just like walking through there picking. It's like I was running a marathon, and I'm like, good gosh, I picked a little more, and I mean, a lot of times I would try to pick first thing in the morning because it's a little cooler, but like by the time I'd get done, my clothes would be just soaking wet. Like I'd have to go home and change and like take a shower before I even went and like did anything. Like I wouldn't even want to see customers because I'm drenched in sweat.
Yeah, I sweat a lot just in general, and
Same.
so I'll get back and I am soaked. And so I'm at the point, everybody's used to it now. They just ask me if I got out of the pool, and I got to laugh, even though I'm pretty sure I'm dying on my way to the cooler to lay on the floor. But it's all right. It's not too bad most of the time. You get used to it by the end of the year.
Yeah. I have heard of guys renting reefer trucks and parking them there, because I think you can rent them pretty cheap, and like basically for the span of the sweet corn season or whatever. I've heard of people, like, if you don't have a big freezer or something, I don't know the price, but that's something I've thought about. Like, that would be a good thing to consider.
If it's not too expensive, it would be a great idea, because if you can get your corn picked in the morning before it gets too hot, get it in the reefer, it'll stay nicer a lot longer.
Yeah.
But you're going to have to sell probably half the corn you picked to pay for the day of the reefer.
Yeah.
Because I don't know what it is, how it is by you, but for around here, for a long time, it was just a race to the bottom on sweet corn prices. And it was like, whatever we had of that, the neighbor had it for 50 cents cheaper, and then the other neighbor had it for 50 cents cheaper than them. And so that's not too much anymore because labor's too expensive. So now everybody keeps the prices.
Y'all'd be cussing Logan.
Yeah.
Because it was just last week, I think you talking.
I cut some throats last year, man.
Man.
I did. Which it was, I don't remember what I used to sell it for. I used to sell it for super cheap. And then last year, just because I had the quantity, because I had a lot of sweet corn, I was like, but what helped us is we had the sweet corn. We also had some sauerkraut. We also had squash. So they would come in to buy the sweet corn, and they would then buy a bunch of other stuff too. So it made it, I could lower the price of the corn. And, what was I getting? I was getting like $5 a dozen. And it's funny, some people were in there, it may have even been $4 a dozen. But people were in there gathering their ears, and this woman, she said, "How much is this a dozen?" I said, $4, $5 a dozen. She goes, "Lord, you're so-and-so down the road there is charging $7 a dozen." And I was telling somebody about that, and he said, "Damn, you're cutting their throats." I said, "Yeah, I guess so."
Man, you could have just been charging $6 and still been undercutting. You're going way down.
I know. Well, I told my wife, I said, we're going to have to probably go to $6, because I started kind of figuring up, and I'm like, we're not even hardly making any money. Like as much time and effort as goes into it. And that's kind of the thing we've learned, like even with our eggs, like I think we charge $6 a dozen now on eggs, and we used to charge like way less than that. And my wife and I talked about it, and she was like, I don't want to go up on price. But our feed was like, I figured it up, and we were like basically just breaking even on eggs. Yeah. And I said, what's the point of doing this if we're just going to break even?
Yeah, you can sit on your couch and break even.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. We struggle with that a little bit on pricing and stuff, because like for my mom and my dad, they've been doing this for 30 years, and they're they don't go grocery shopping. We raise all our own food, or we're getting it in wholesale, and so we don't even know like what Walmart's charging or what other grocery stores are charging. So every now and then we'll be talking prices, and I'll tell them, well, you guys need to go for a ride and go just see what stuff is, because you got to know what the ballpark is, because you don't want to be undercutting or overshooting it by sometimes you think you're fine on something and you realize, oh, you're too high on it. And the key for the farm stores, I think, is consistency. Like sweet corn, you're talking, like you got to keep the sweet corn nice, and you got to try and keep it as high quality as you can. Because if people are coming, because people, like you said, people will come for sweet corn. Yeah. Like they'll come back for it every time. So if you can keep it nice and keep it looking nice and keep it tasting good, they'll keep coming for it. Even then, at that point, then you don't have to be super cheap. Yeah. Because generally, like first in the beginning of the year, I don't know when you start yours, but like we'll plant ours under plastic, and try and have it ready for the 4th of July, because that's like the first big sweet corn day up here. And if we have to buy sweet corn in, it's like the last time we had to do it, it was like $12 a dozen. Is what we had to sell it for. To make any money. And we were breaking even at $12 a dozen. And so we were like, we weren't making any money on that. So we're like, if we can get it at 7 or 8 for the first sweet corn of the year, and then once we get into our main season, we can back it down to $6.50, $7. Yeah. And then you just leave it at that. And just if you can keep the sweet corn nice, it seems like people will just keep coming for it, because they're used to paying that. There's not gonna, if you try to go back up though, you're gonna hurt somebody's feelings. Yeah. Yeah. Well, and that's what my wife and I said. We're like, we need to establish that. And, like I sell eggs to a local bakery, and, that was one of the cool things when we got in with them. And funny, again, it's hard to, and I mean, Bobby Lee knows this. He's been in business, like self-employed and all that for a while. And I'm sure you've definitely figured this out as well, but you got to value your time and your effort in there. Yeah. And for the longest time, I was like, well, hell, I'll work hard. I don't care. I just want to sell the product and this and that. And it's like, well, no, shit, you put in that work, you need to get paid for it. And I'm not trying to get rich, but I want it to be worth my time. And so like with the eggs to the bakery, man, I gave a really cheap price, but I'm like, well, they're buying in bulk. And that was the first one I sat down and I told my wife, I was like, we're actually like, we might be losing $10 a week on these eggs. And so I said something to the purchaser, and she actually was like, I was actually going to say something to you, because she said you were too cheap. She said, I told you that. Yeah. She said, she goes, I had told a friend of mine that like, he needs to go up on prices. I'm going to tell him to increase his price. Yeah. And she said they thought I was crazy because she's buying them from me, but she's like, I knew you were selling them too cheap. Yeah. Well, especially recently, you can't even get eggs straight from the wholesalers for cheaper than the local ones. So like you probably knew, like local good eggs is way too cheap. Oh yeah. Yeah. At our grocery store up here at one time, they were $10 a dozen. Yeah. That's what, we never went and looked, but that's what the customers were telling us when they were coming in. We've been buying in eggs, and we have them in the farm market, and then our own eggs are in the cooler put away. Yeah. So only the people who know about them get them, because they gotta ask. Because if you just leave them out, we get people just taking them, and we're like, well, I don't have any for my guy who's been buying eggs for 3 years. He comes and gets 2 dozen a week. Like I gotta have for that guy. Y'all got what, 250 chickens? We have 300, but we just got an extra 135. Wow. And so they'll start laying hopefully in about a week or 2. Yeah. So we just picked them up, and unfortunately we couldn't get any more, but we just can't keep up with eggs. Like it's crazy out there for eggs right now. Oh, dude, it is. That's what I told my wife. We have, I don't know, we got about 100, I guess now, and we got chicks too. I got 20 chicks in the garage and the whole thing. But it takes so long for them to finally start laying. And that's what I bought, some layers that were like basically from a poultry house, but they're not old. They're like a year old, and they're like feral chickens, man. Things are crazy. Like they don't even roost, and they don't lay in nesting boxes. But I'm working on an A-frame coop for them, and I saw that on Instagram today. You were working on that. Yeah, man. That's like
But again, here's my dilemma. I got to get my planter set up and all that for the row crop. So now I'm out of time for that right now. So that's got to wait. So now I'm kind of like Bobby Lee. Like the farm store is kind of like my day off. I get to work there
Yeah.
and row crop. So I end up working my ass off over there, and so, but one day I'll find out a balance.
That is the problem with the farm store, or like for us with our farm market, is it makes a lot of jobs at one time need to happen. Like it's not like with row cropping, it's like we're planting season. Now we're just taking care of stuff till it gets ready to harvest, and we harvest. It's all in sections, but with us, it's okay. We're harvesting sweet corn. We got to plant sweet corn this week because we're planting the next planting. We got to spray the 4 plantings that are out, so that are ready. And so it's like every week, it's all the jobs need to be done every week. So it's kind of like doing chores. It's just there's a million of them.
Yeah,
They got to be done every week.
Do y'all do any orchards or fruit trees?
We used to. We were at one point. We had when so I had at one point my uncle and my 2 other cousins were working on the farm as well when we were all younger. And so we were trying to drum up some extra income. And so we started we had 1,500 fruit trees.
Wow.
We had like 1,000 apple trees, a ton of peaches, a ton of plums. And it just it's not conducive with the greenhouses.
Yeah.
Because in March and April, when you're supposed to be pruning trees, we're planting in the greenhouses. And then in the summertime, when you're harvesting and we're picking tomatoes, we're picking peppers, we're picking sweet corn, and then you got to run over and pick apples, pick peaches, and it was just too much to do. So we did it for a few years, but it was just killing us. So we gave up the orchard.
Yeah.
And so it's
They're
fun.
tough.
Like, yeah, it's tough. It's real tough. And like that is a business where maybe down where you guys are at, it's not such a big deal, but we have a guy, a good friend who's got, I think, like 200,000 apple trees.
Holy smokes.
And he had a crop last year, but for the 2 years prior to that, he had no crop because we had
Off
a
of
late
200,000.
late frost killed all the blossoms. Nothing. Nothing. 2 years in a row. 2 years in a row. Nothing.
Yeah, that's brutal.
Yeah, and then that business is you need tons of labor because when the apples are ready, you got to get them all off.
Yeah.
And same with the peaches, plums. Everyone, as soon as it's time, you got to get them all off because if they're on there an extra 3 days, they're not going to store anymore.
Well,
So
the damn spraying is what kicks my ass on them. Like I have 80 or 90 fruit trees. Like we just set out like 40 peach trees. I think about 40 apple trees and then 10 or so plum. And the peach trees are a real bastard, man. I'm gonna tell you, them things, like, I never quite got the spraying down, and they basically all just browned on me, which they were new. So I mean, I didn't expect any fruit from them for probably about 3 to 5 years, but the leaves brown, and hell, I was like, well, shit, every one of them's dead. And now they've all come back, and they're pretty and green right now. But I'm like, well, unless I figure out what to do, then they ain't gonna be worth a shit again.
Yeah, well, peaches after you harvest them, they drop their leaves pretty quick.
Yeah.
So that might just be the normal thing. But peaches and apples are so tough because you gotta the diseases that are after them, and then the bugs because there's so much sugar in them.
Yeah.
I'm allergic to bees, and the last 2 times I've been stung were picking peaches. Because there's just the bugs love them. So it's so much work to keep track of. Like if you think with the farm stand, when you get into doing produce and then fruit, it's almost impossible to do both. Just find a local guy that you can buy fruit off of and sell it in the farm market. That's what we do.
So my question is, when do you think that do you think I need to hang up the boots on the row cropping and go all in on the store?
I mean, if you could do both for a little bit longer, I know that's a hard ask, but try and build up the business a little bit. Yeah. And then figure out how much you can, if you're not leasing tons of ground, how much money you'll save. And because it's hard for me to say, because this is all I've done since I was like 5, this is what I've been doing. So my 2 cousins that used to work here on the farm, they now work for the local big time operator. And they're driving huge tractors and take up the whole road and look like they're having the time of their lives half the time.
Yeah.
So I don't know what to tell you. I can't tell you either way. But if I can tell you, if you can get the farm store going, it really works out nice. Like for us, we have diversified to the point now because we had to, because it's got my parents and then my family and then my brother's family and my other brother's family. So to keep everybody employed and our wives employed, it takes a lot to keep it going. So that's why we do so many different things. That's why my brother started the YouTube channel. It was just trying to start another revenue stream.
Yeah.
And that's working out for him.
That's how Bobby Lee, he hammers the YouTube over here. I make like a video every 6 months.
Yeah.
Now my brother has his big YouTube channel, and then my cousin Joel, he who worked on the farm for a while, but now he started his own YouTube channel, and his mom owns a stable that adjoins the farm.
Okay.
And so he does taking care of the horses. They're building a huge hay barn right now, and he films everything they do over there. So that's his supplemental income. And then my youngest brother Daniel, him and his wife started a YouTube channel.
Dang.
And they're doing it too. But I have no desire to do it. And it's like I see how well it can go for my brother. He's got 200,000 subscribers, and it's amazing. I still can't do it. I can't be on the camera. Like half the time he wants me to say something and I'm just not. I can't. I'm not in the mood. But
my brother's like that.
I was gonna say, sounds like your brher.
Yeah. Which your brother, because your brothers are like this. I stick the camera right in front of him all the time.
Yeah.
He'll just like, or he'll say something so inappropriate. I can't put it in there. I'm like, all right, thanks, man.
Well, my brother's youngest sister-in-law, she's an 18-year-old girl. And it's all his videos now, so we all have to be real careful about what we say because she's gonna hear it. Taylor's gonna hear it.
Yeah.
And so.
Yeah, we'd be in trouble on here if we had that.
Oh yeah.
We get you say something funny, and then Andrew comes back and he's like, "You got to say that again on camera so that everybody can hear it because it was a good one." So
yeah.
But it doesn't bother. It used to bother me a lot more because it was when you were trying to get work done. You'd be like, Andy, just put down the camera and come pick cabbage with us, please. but now it's worked. He loves it so much, and it's worked out so well for him. He's able to take care of his family with it, and it's great for the farm market because we brings a ton of business. I had a guy from Alabama here yesterday.
Dang.
He was passing through, stopped at the farm market.
Yeah.
So,
dude, it does. That's we talk about even the podcast. It's funny, just people you see that are like, you don't know who they are, and they're like, "Hey, man, I listen to the podcast, love it." And so it's it's cool, man. We're in the age of where you can share information, and there's so much bull crap out there about agriculture, which is ultimately why we started the show, because it was so much stupid stuff being said about farmers. They were like, man, we got to show some actual reality to this. And so that's kind of what spurred us on. Now, I'm going to shift gears right here before we finish up. Now, I don't know if you watch this or not, but we've gotten some emails. We've had some people that have been a little disappointed in us. I told Bobby Lee this. We have not spoke about Farmer Wants a Wife. And apparently it's on like the 3rd episode. Do you watch any of that, Matt?
Not at all. No. I'm happy to hear about it.
I mean, and of course, I don't know. Like, we're two married dudes. One in his mid-30s, one in his 40s. Like,
not married to each other. For people
right.
Yeah.
Right. Hey, that's okay these days. Yeah. But I don't think we're the target demographic, for that kind of show. It started kind of as a joke, and we got hooked.
Yeah.
We did, man. It's we literally watched it.
But I've been late to this season too.
So have you watched any of it?
About an episode and a half, but the first one it was like while I was cooking dinner for the kids, and so it was like I kind of got the general idea. But I'll catch up. We'll be caught up for next week.
Well, I've watched the first 2 episodes.
2, okay.
Yeah, I got to watch the 3rd one. The other night I told my wife, I was like, oh crap, because I got an email flew in. It was like, where the hell's that Farmer Wants a Wife update? So I'm like, oh crap. So I tuned in, and it's funny, man. Our audience is so torn. Like
people love it or hate it.
Yes, we will get a message inevitably from somebody that's gonna be like, damn it, I wish you'd stop talking about Farmer Wants a Wife. And then the other crowd they'll be like messaging us, like telling us what team they're on Farmer Wants a Wife. And this will be like the Cowboys of all cowboys, like nothing sissy about them. And they're like, I'm hooked on that damn show because of you guys. And so it's funny, man. Yeah. I've watched, I'm 2 in. I don't know. I ain't decided on anything yet. I know, well, we can dive because I need to watch the 3rd episode, I guess. But I don't know. What are your thoughts so far on it?
So, I think this might be the best group of guys they've ever had.
Do you think so?
I don't know. I mean, overall, like in previous seasons, there was always like one guy I was just kind of like, yeah, I don't know about him. But I think all 4 of these, like, they seem very legit.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. They. I'm trying to think. Our closest one. Usually, there's always somebody relatively close.
Yeah, we've had a lot. Yeah, just geographically.
Yeah, there's one guy. Is he in Arkansas?
Alabama.
Alabama.
There's Alabama,
and
like
St.
Louis. The guy in Arkansas is actually like, because I looked it up, he's way over like on the Oklahoma line. So
Gotcha. Okay.
Because we're only like 2 miles from Arkansas where we are.
Yeah, you said West
as the crow
Tennessee.
flies, but yeah.
Yeah. I've only ever been to Knoxville and Nashville, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love Knoxville. That's where I spent 4 years there. But yeah, we're as far west as we can possibly go.
Yeah.
And still be Tennessee.
Yeah, we're right outside of the prime city of Memphis, the most dangerous city in America.
depending on what statistics you're using.
Yeah. I think I'm not into Farmer Wants a Wife because I've only been married for 4 years, so I like just lived it.
Yes.
So and then all my brothers finding their wives is the same thing.
Yeah.
So did you put a group of women through a series of trials on your farm to determine which would be your wife?
Not but my wife failed every test, but we still got married.
Picked her anyway.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
But no, she's great.
Yeah.
But yeah, we when my brother got married, his wife had a huge family, and they all came up to the farm, and it's the first time on the farm, and we were like free manual labor for the week, so it was great. Having them all there, but it was a good time.
You gotta tune in and watch one episode of Farmer Wants a Wife.
All right, I'll let you know.
Yeah, you gotta let me know.
It's on Fox. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, I'm gonna harass you and ask until you watch one episode, because man, it is so you just, like I said, we watched it to make fun of it. Like that was the first season. This would have been, I guess, 2 years ago.
And one of the farmers on this season, he's not certainly not like the type of produce you are. The guy, I don't know any of their names. I just know kind of what they do and where they're from.
A produce guy?
The one in California.
Oh, yeah,
they grow
avocados
and other kind of specialty crops.
Yeah.
Yes, I mean different crops, but
it's so cool out there when you drive past the fields because you're used to seeing fields of. My wife and I went there for our anniversary last year, and we were driving up through California, and you're used to seeing just corn and soybeans as far as you can see.
Yeah.
We drove through a place called Watsontown, and it's where most of the strawberries in California are raised, and it was thousands of acres of strawberries as far as you can see.
That would be cool.
It was so neat, but yeah. So avocados, same thing. We saw one spot; they were 10 for $1 for avocados.
Wow.
I'm assuming they were ripe, so you can't ship them because you're not going to make it. But anyway, go on. I'm sorry to.
No, man. I'm the same. I want to go out there. We talk about California as like the land of fruits and nuts, but it's I want to go and see it because it's, again, I'm used to the same thing. You drive around and everything's the same. It's corn, soybeans, and hell, you drive to Arkansas, it's corn, soybeans. You might see some rice.
Yeah, that's like rice. It's the only difference there.
Yeah, like you see the same stuff all the time, and so. And that's part of the thing that allures to me on the produce side. It's like, it's different. I've always been a weirdo. I like to march to the beat of my own drum. So I like to do things different. And so, I don't know, man, the produce stuff's fascinating to me. The all of that, I could ask you 100 questions. You might hate that you ever did the show because I'm probably going to bug you now.
Shoot me a text. I'll tell you what I can, or I'll ask my dad. That's the better option.
Yeah.
There you go.
Well, I will. Well, man, we're going to put you on the spot here. We're at the end of the show. And if you've listened to much, we do an American-made highlight at the end of the show. So Bobby Lee's going to queue up.
Man, I wasn't ready.
Oh, I thought you didn't got it ready.
This is my favorite part of the show where Bobby's not ready.
Yeah, he's never ready, and he plays it like 8 times.
Well, my new phone.
Here it goes.
All right, hold on.
Is he going to get it? Uh-oh. All right.
Let me start off with 2 words. Made in America.
Hey, that's the best you've
Best
ever done.
I've ever done. I wasn't ready, but I stopped him on time.
Yeah, that was the best ever done, man. So what is an American-made product, brand, or something that you would put your stamp of approval on?
Benchmade knives.
Okay. Yep.
That would be my number one that's what I carry around most of the time, and it's never served me wrong.
We love our knives.
We do. I've used several. I had a switchblade Benchmade for years, and I lost it in the woods one time, and I was devastated. I mean, I looked for
Pocket knives are like sunglasses. The more expensive they are, the faster you lose them.
Yeah,
yes.
That's a good point.
Yes. Yes, they are. Yeah. I had a really good skinning, like a deer skinning knife that was a Benchmade knife, too.
Yeah, both of my hunting knives are Benchmades. And
Gotcha. Do you carry a folder, or what kind do you carry on you?
I carry a folder generally.
Yeah.
Because with a fixed, we're always bending over and stuff, so like a fixed would be a pain to have. I used to carry just a Leatherman, but then I started carrying the knife because the Leatherman knife was too small sometimes for what we're doing.
Gotcha.
But
yeah, Benchmade, man. No, they're great. Yeah, they're great. I've got several of theirs, and like I said, yeah, man, you actually brought up a painful memory because I had forgotten about that knife that I lost. Yeah, I was walking through Bolton out there in the woods, and I don't remember what I was doing.
That was fairly recent.
It's about 3 years ago.
I thought it was gonna be like when you were like 13 or something.
No. It was probably 3 years ago. It was my first switchblade that I ever had, and like I always had wanted a switchblade.
Mm-hmm.
I bought like a $250 Benchmade switchblade, and I was walking through there, and it had the pocket clip,
Mm-hmm.
and I was in some thick woods, and I was having to kind of step through some stuff, and I went down to like get it, and it was gone. And I backtracked. I literally backtracked for like 3 hours trying to find it. I never found it. I was devastated.
Yeah. I've been there. I one time lost a Leatherman in a 5-acre pumpkin field.
Oh gosh.
And I tried to march through that thing, but there was no way.
Yeah.
Never found it.
No, that's my luck. I think I actually bought the same exact knife afterwards, and if I remember right, I think I lost it a second time, and so I didn't buy it again. Yeah.
You need to get a cheaper knife.
Yeah, I know. I know. I'm hard on a knife too.
Yeah, I was just thinking, my dad, we were actually having this conversation the other day because he took a pocket knife off my son. My son's 7, which when I was a little kid, I remember we were working cows one time and Dad needed a knife. I was wearing blue jeans. And he's like, if you got pockets, you're supposed to have a pocket knife. And it wasn't long after that I got suspended from school for having a pocket knife.
I remember that. Yeah.
But it doesn't matter what the occasion. If he's given like Christmas, for instance, every year, we'll get a Christmas present. Then there's always a pocket knife to go along with it.
Yeah.
And he's given some good ones. He'll give some cheap ones. But and I give him a hard time when he gives me one that's like made in China. Like there's so many damn good knife companies right here in the USA.
Yeah.
Benchmade, great example. And but you're right. The cheap ones that I've got some like cheap as hell that I got when I was like 13 years old.
Oh yeah.
Like, God dang, I can't get rid of this sucker.
Oh, I got a butterfly knife that I've had since I was probably 13. I stabbed myself in the leg with it one night, and it's still in there. Yeah, I got a hideous one that I got probably when I was.
Probably couldn't cut hot butter with it.
No. I mean, yeah, you could swing that thing around. If it landed on your fingers, it wouldn't hurt you anyways.
Yeah.
But it will puncture your leg. I did find that out the hard way.
Well, that's the true
You got it
test
like in a
of
flea
knife.
market or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, that's just like sunglasses. The more expensive they are, the less I want to carry them around.
Oh no, you couldn't be any more true. Like
The first time I went to the lake with my wife, my wife's family has a lake house. First time I went, I wore a pair of Oakleys. They were gone. Lost them in the lake.
I lost a pair of Oakleys at Cold Creek fishing one time. But yeah, pair I wore all day today is like a $20 pair of sunglasses. and I've had them for over a year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
bulletproof.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, Matt, tell everybody where they can keep up with what's going on with y'all.
Just follow my brother's YouTube channel, the Veggie Boys, on YouTube, and then he's got an Instagram and Facebook for it as well. So, and if you want to check out the farm, it's Ochs Farm Market, OCHS on Facebook. So,
Okay.
Thank you guys.
Yeah, if y'all get it, what Matt's saying is he does not want you to follow him.
Yeah, I'm private. I'm not in the limelight. I just like you guys, so I came on. But
Well, dude, we appreciate it, man. This has been really
Yeah.
this has been really cool. This has.
That's fantastic. We're excited. We hadn't really talked to, anybody in produce, and
yeah, it's
there's
less
lots
and
of
less and less small produce options. Well, I guess they're coming back now, but we're in a crazy spot where there's like 3 within like 5 miles,
Yeah.
and but like most places don't even have a spot. Like on my brother's YouTube comments, people say all the time, they're like, "Oh, I wish there was somewhere like this
Yeah.
around." But and then all the produce is on giant farms, 1,000 miles away.
Yep.
Yep, it is. It is, man. Well, Matt, we appreciate you joining us, man.
Happy to be on. Thank you, guys.
Absolutely. Now, we need y'all to do 2 things again. We need you to leave us that rating and review. We need you to comment below. Let us know what you thought of the episode. Hit that like
Yep.
and subscribe button. And what else?
agzaga.com. Y'all know it. Talk dirt, all caps, all one word. Take your 10% off on the already great deals, great shipping. It really is. I know we said it's unbelievable how cheap and efficiently they can ship something as bulky as bell neck wrap.
Yeah.
But I'll leave it at that. Y'all know the drill. Use the discount code. Help you out. Help us out. agzaga.com.
Yep. Do it, guys. Guys, we appreciate y'all tuning in. We'll catch you next week.